I am having so much fun going through my LPs, and it's fun to see the diversity of genres represented, and it always stirs memories when I pick up a certain album and think, oh my goodness, I used to play this all the time. Or another one that I might say haven't ever listened to it or only listened to it a couple of times. It's fun just to think about the story of each of these LPs, and it sure makes me miss the age of the LP. Cover art was so important, and being able to pull the sleeve out when you put the album on and follow along with the lyrics or look at the photos. I really enjoyed the visual side of LPs so much, and I do miss that. So, Scoundrel Days. I think this was the follow-up to their debut album, Hunting High and Low, which was a huge hit because of their song Take On Me. That first album was a great album. I really loved this album too. Lots of tunes that I remember. Let's see, Scoundrel Days, Swing of Things, Cry Wolf, Looking for the Whales, Soft Trains of April. Those are all great songs. So Scoundrel Days. I've kind of tried to keep up with them. I have a couple others of theirs too. The Infected. I don't remember where I heard this. If it was on MTV, or I heard it recommended in British, I think mostly electronic band, but I think in these days it was more rock. The title cut is pretty cutting. There's a song on here, I can't remember which song it is, but a British guy, and the song ends with this refrain, "This is the 51st state of the USA," talking about England. So lots of social commentary on there as well. Kind of a rough album in some ways, but a kind of a cool time capsule, I would say. Styx, Cornerstone. I was into Styx in these days. It has the very divisive song on it, Babe. Lots of people parted ways with Styx at this point because they were getting too soft, but I enjoyed them, and I enjoyed that album. Maybe not their best, but I still have it, and I still claim it. Tears for Fears, Songs from the Big Chair. Love this album. I love their debut album. That first album was a lot darker. I think it was called The Hurting. Great angular tunes on that one. They really have softened it up a lot more here and have gone with a more mainstream sound, but it was a huge album for them. Shout, very common song on MTV in those days, along with Everybody Wants to Rule the World. That'd be one of my favorite tunes I listed on the soundtrack to my life. Head Over Heels. They had several hits from this album, and it's a great album. It's justified. Till Tuesday. Welcome Home. Amy Mann. I love Amy Mann's music. She writes such a great song, and I'm happy that she's still writing songs today. Her most recent album, Mental Illness, on Spotify, highly recommended. It's more mellow, but incredible songwriting and great harmonies. She is quite the artist. So Welcome Home. What About Love? Coming Up Close. I think that's a song that was on the radio for a while. Sleeping and Waking. Great album. Amy Mann. I have the debut too somewhere coming up, I'm sure. Here we go again. Van Halen. This was their second album, and I think for a long time this was my favorite. I loved the song Dance the Night Away. But what's that other song on here that I just love? Somebody Get Me a Doctor is a good song. Light Up the Sky. Eddie Van Halen's guitar and David Lee Roth's crazy vocals and wild gymnastics. It was a great recipe for rock success back in those days. Here's a classic, U2, The Unforgettable Fire. I really prefer War. I didn't listen to this that much. I know this is always held up as U2's best album or one of their best albums, and I sure get it, but I like the War had a little more edge to it, and I loved some of those songs, New Year's Day and the like. I think I have it in here somewhere, but The Unforgettable Fire, classic album, and justifiably considered one of their best. Green by REM. This was REM becoming a little more mainstream, and I think if I had to pick an REM album, it would have to be Life's Rich Pageant. But Green was a great album. Was this Orange Crush on here? Yes, Orange Crush, Pop Song 89. Some good tunes. Stand is on here. So a great REM album. Wings at the Speed of Sound. I must have gotten this at a thrift store. I don't remember having this when I was growing up, but Let 'Em In is on here. Let's see. Not much else I'm honestly familiar with, but I'm always honored to have Paul McCartney somewhere in my collection. This next one was an obscure group in the 80s, the Wooden Tops, Giant. And I bought this because several other guys at the seminary raved about the Wooden Tops. The song Give It Time is a great pop song. Honestly, don't remember much else from this album. Love Affair with Everyday Livin', I can kind of remember that one. But the Wooden Tops, Giant, one of my obscure albums from the 80s.